tonight, though, I can promise you that, I got a chance to see some. It was July 20th of 1996. I was at the Anaheim Disneyland Hotel when I got a chance to walk into a room. I was 17 years old, and I sat in the front row, and I got to see Jim Rohn do a goal setting workshop. And in some of you guys that are Jim Rohn fans, like me, I'm a big time Jim Rohn fan. That was the actual day he recorded this. I didn't even know that, but the building your network marketing business is like iconic training material from our industry, and it just so happened, you know what I mean, to be that day. And I was he did a goal setting workshop that day that I've been using that exact same training now for the last 30 years. And tonight this training is really going to be impactful, and I want to just dive into it. I don't want to spend a lot of time, but I will show you guys a little picture of what I looked like when I got started in the industry, just so you can kind of understand, like, where when I got started, how I was looking, and the fact that the goal setting workshop changed everything for me. And I know it's going to do that to a lot of you tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this information. I'm super, super delighted and really fired up to be able to get a chance to share this information with you. Let me pull this PowerPoint up here. There we go. And it just gets me excited every time I get a chance to be able to talk about this information, because this literally was the information that I learned that changed everything for me. And when I first got started in direct selling, I never been around wealthy people. I never been around successful people, and I never had a goal. I was not a goal oriented. I always thought the goals were for somebody else, and come to find out, the goals are for anybody that wants to have a better quality of life. And it really, really impacted me. So let me just jump into this right now. We're going to talk about the goal setting workshop tonight, and the goal setting workshop is probably the most impactful training for me. And I know it's going to do the same for many of you tonight as well. And this is what I look like on July 20th in 1996, when I went to go meet Jim Rohn for the first time it was at the Anaheim Disneyland Hotel. I came in 2 hours early. The staff wasn't even there yet. I was sitting right in the front row with one of my best friends at the time, my buddy Todd, and I got him to come with me. And he's like, "What are we doing?" I'm like, "This guy's the man." And I just sat there and I took probably about a dang near whole journal full of notes. And that training changed everything. And a couple months later, in December of 96, I was getting awarded at the company that I worked with. They were giving me for being the top producer. I actually earned they gave me a S-Class Mercedes Benz. And the guy standing next to me is actually one of Jim Rohn's, dear friends, and he was one of my big mentors getting started early on in my career. And it's just so amazing whenever you get a chance to be able to get around some amazing people that can show you how to change your life. And I think when I sat there looking like, the guy on the left there, I don't think anybody in that auditorium was to say, "Hey man, you know what, that kid, he's got what it takes. He's going to be successful." But I just listened and learned, and I applied it. So I really want you to open up your heart today, and we're going to ask you to get engaged. It's not just kind of like just listen, but when we get into this goal setting workshop, we're going to ask you to participate and actually write down some things and go through this information. And we're probably not going to be able to get through it all, but we will be able to get started, and you can kind of take the information and follow up a little bit with it and spend maybe a few hours. It's always good to do it with your family, husbands and wives, and if you got kids, grandkids, cousins, family members you care about. It's always a great idea to do this goal setting workshop with them. But I want to just go over a couple truths about goals, because in 1979, and I'll tell you where I got this information from, interviewers asked new graduates from the Harvard MBA program, and they asked them that only 84%, 84% had no specific goal at all. So 84% of the people that graduated from, think about this, Harvard's MBA program, 84% of them had no goal at all. 13% had a goal, but they didn't commit it to paper, and only 3% had a clear written goal and plans to accomplish them. Listen to this. Watch what happens. They took a look at that same group in 1989, and this is from a book called "What They Don't Teach You at the Harvard School at the Harvard Business School." This book is real powerful, and they took a look at those exact same graduates, and here were the results. The 13% of the class who had goals were earning on average twice as much as the 84% that had no goal at all. But the 3% that had a clear written goal, this is powerful. 3% that had a clear written goal, they were earning on average 10 times as much as the other 97 put together. Think about what I just told you. The 3% that had a clear written goal were making 10 times more than the other 97% all put together. There's no debating the fact that goals are going to transform your life. I mean, it is absolutely, it is without a doubt. So I'm going to give you some myths on goals. This is from Brian Tracy's book about goals. One myth that you'll hear people say is, I already have goals, I don't need to set any, right? And people that say this, are also, their goals are very vague, right? I want to be rich, I want to be thin, I want to be happy, I want to be successful, I want to live, I want to live my dreams, right? And these aren't really goals, right? These are wishes and fantasies that are, common to all mankind. A goal is like a beautiful home, carefully designed, revised continually, upgraded regularly, and worked on constantly. Here's what Brian Tracy says: if it is not written, it's merely a dream or a wish, a vague objective with no energy behind it. So it's got to be clear. It's got to be defined. And we'll talk about what that looks like in a second. Here's also what this is myth number 2 that Brian Tracy talks about. I don't need goals, I'm doing fine. You'll hear people say that, I'm doing goals, I'm doing fine. Living your life without goals and objectives is like setting off across an unknown territory with no road signs and no roadmap at all. If you just started going in a direction, it's kind of like what sometimes you'll hear Ziegler. He always talks about, you're either meaningful, specific, or wandering generality, right? So this is something that you got to think about, is you have no choice but to make it and go along, just reacting, responding to whatever happens whenever you don't have a clear goal and hoping for the best. If you're doing things well today without a written goal and plans, you'll be doing way more better, many more times more better in the future if you have clear targets to aim for and the ability to measure progress as you go along. It's vital to have a goal setting objectives. Goal setting is so critical, so important. Here's myth number 3. I don't need written goals. I have them all in my mind. The average stream of consciousness includes about 1,500 thoughts per minute. So the average brain has got about 1,500 thoughts per minute, right? If your goals are only in your mind, they're inevitably jumbled up, they're vague, confused, contradictory, and deficient in many ways, right? They offer no clarity and give you no motive or no power, right? So basically what happens is you become like a ship without a rudder, drifting, with the tides, crashing into rocks, and inevitably, and really never, reaching your full potential. So you've got to have these clear goals. Let's talk about what the myth number 4 is, right? Is don't know how to set goals, right? You'll hear people say, I don't know how to set goals. You can receive a master's degree at a leading university and never receive a single hour of instruction on goal setting and achieving. That's mind-blowing, right? Fortunately, setting goals is a skill just like time management, teaching, selling, managing, or anything else really that that if you want to become a highly productive and effective person, and all skills are learnable. That's what I want you to remember, is all skills are learnable. You can learn how to set goals. You can learn the skills of goal setting by practice and repetition until it becomes as easy and as automatic as breathing. That's exactly the truth. I promise you this, okay? And from the very first day that you begin setting goals, your progress will make it will make your success. It'll astonish you by how much success you'll be able to have when you start setting goals. Okay. So here's what I want to show you guys. This is a formula that my mentor taught me. It says, turning your dreams into reality. A dream plus a deadline equals a goal. A goal plus a plan equals reality. So we're going to talk today mainly about how to take dreams, add deadlines to them, and turn them into goals. And then we've got other trainings where we talk about how to have a plan, right? I'm a big person. I'm a big believer in plans. You gotta take a goal, right, and add a plan to it so you know exactly what it looks like. But let's talk a little bit about what we call SMART goals. Some of you've probably heard this before in other trainings. And the first thing is the S. The SMART goals is actually an acronym, right? The S stands for specific. You know what you want to accomplish, right? You have to know exactly what you want to accomplish, because vague goals equate to vague results, right? Goals must be fully furnished with detailed description of what, when, why, and how. So you've got to have a detailed description, right? That's going to make it more specific. You got to be able to visualize it in your mind's eye, right? Vague goals, I just want to be rich. Like, I want to be successful. Like that doesn't even mean anything, right? That changes from day to day. Success, there's so many different areas of life that you can be successful in. So when you have a SMART goal, specific goal, is I'm going to commit to every Riman event, every Riman national event, every Zoom call, and as a result of working hard, I'm going to be making $20,000 a month within the next 12-month time frame. Talking about 12 months, 20,000, specific, right? You've got to be specific. Now, the M stands for something called measurable. Those goals have got to be measurable. You got to be able to assess your progress. Okay. Think about this, right? Goals which cannot be measured cannot be managed, right? Your goal is measurable if anyone can tell you at the end of the deadline whether or not you've completed your goal. I want to be successful. Well, what does that mean, right? That's not measurable, right? You can't really measure that. But if you say, I want to commit to I want to commit to introducing Riman to 5 people a day, 5 days a week. And as a result of my effort, I'm going to have in my savings account at least $500,000 within 5 year time from this date. That's very measurable, right? That's very measurable. Okay? So let me give you another one. Attainable. The A stands for obtainable. Your goal must be able to be in reach of your present situation. High goals that stretch are okay, but high and realistic goals are even better. Unattainable goals can motivate you, right? Unattainable goals, cannot motivate you because it's too unrealistic, right? Easy goals, on the other hand, are not going to challenge you enough. So they're not going to contribute to your growth. So let me give you an example. I want to be a millionaire in the next 3 months. Okay. That's probably not attainable, right? In anybody's situation. But if I'm going to commit to sharing Riman with 5 people a day, every day, and commit to every Riman convention as a result of working hard, I'm going to be a 7 figure, I'm going to be $1 million a year earner within 3 years. That's very attainable, right? That's very attainable in this profession. Okay. So, but you have to have an attainable goal, right? If right now, let's say that you're a planner and you were like, hey, look, you know what? I want to be a national director tomorrow. It's going to be a challenge, right? You know what I mean? It's going to be a challenge. Now, can you become a national director in 6 months and you're brand new? Absolutely, right? Chris and I were able to do that, so we know it's attainable. It's possible to do, okay? But the fact of the matter is you want to set something that's going to be attainable to you, right? And not something that's so easy as like, hey, I want to be a senior manager in the next 6 months. Probably not going to make you reach or challenge you enough. So you want to set goals that are attainable, that aren't like wild goals, like I want to be a millionaire tomorrow, but you also want to set goals that are going to be attainable, right? If you want to be a millionaire, $1 million earner in 3 years, that's a great goal, right? That's attainable, very attainable, right? So you got to obviously do the work. Now, the R stands for relevant, okay? Goals need to be parallel to your purpose in life. This is big, right? Your goals need to be parallel to your purpose in life. Relevant goals are, is a sure way to direct your efforts, right? When you have relevant goals, it's going to really direct your efforts toward attaining something that is concrete to who you are as a person. Goals are simply instruments to accomplishing one's mission or purpose in life. Okay. Like I always tell people, look, when I was 6 years old, I didn't say, hey man, when I grow up, I want to go find a good lotion to get excited about and go talk to everybody about, right? That's not what it was about. But the person that I am, the Riman opportunity is completely in alignment, right? Because I love serving people. I love helping people. I love watching people change their lives. I love watching people grow and develop and live their dreams. And that's this profession in this company is the perfect opportunity for that. So you got to make sure that it's parallel with your purpose in life, right? If they go within a year, I want to become a leader with large sums of money at my disposal. Okay. That's very vague. You know what I mean? But a smart goal, when in the relevant situation, I want to commit to every Riman event. And as a result of working hard, by the end of the year, I want to become a top national director in Riman who sponsored 5 other leaders that are at least 6-figure earners a year in the opportunity. Perfect, right? That's very relevant, right, to what we're talking about here. So, and now the T stands for what? Time sensitive. Okay, goals need to have deadlines. A goal free from the time element is susceptible to procrastination. Okay, you've got to have that time element. It's got to be time sensitive. If they go, I'm going to go do a bunch of 3-way calls, right? Or I'm going to do a bunch of sit downs and pop ups, right? It's like, okay, very vague. But a smart goal that's time sensitive, like I'm going to start to do 10 3-way calls and 2 sit downs and 1 pop up starting at 3 p.m. today and by finishing at 10 p.m. this evening, right? That's more of a time sensitive goal. You got to have goals that are time sensitive. If you're just like, I'm going to be working my Riman business for 2 hours. Okay. Now you're setting goals based upon nothing, right? But if you're like, hey, I'm going to set up 5 appointments to meet with people, or I'm going to talk to 2 people and present the opportunity to 2 people today, right? I'm going to put the products on 5 people today. When you have goals, right, that are time sensitive, that have to do with getting things done, right? My mentor always said, you don't schedule your work, you schedule your goals, right? You schedule the time of what you're going to accomplish, right? Schedule accomplishments of what you want to do within 2 hours or 3 hours or however much long you work your Riman business. But when you're working the Riman business, when you sit down to do something, it's not like, all right, I'm going to work for 2 hours. It's like, what does that look like, right? That isn't, you could be doing busy work. But if you're like, okay, I've got to present the information. When we got started in Riman, it was like, I've got to present information to people all day long. Just give me somebody that can fog a mirror and I'm going to talk to them about Riman. That was it. I was just looking for people that could fog a mirror that I could talk to. Who can put me in front of people that can fog a mirror that I can talk to? And it was like, I knew that I had to talk to at least 5 people, 10 people a day, because I know that's what success looks like, right? Every time that I became wealthy in this industry, it's been because I've just done so much activity that the results were bound to show up, right? So when I work really, really, really hard, but I work hard at getting results activity, meaning that when I schedule time to work, I schedule results, okay, of things that I want to accomplish. So make sure you have time sensitive goals. But when you look at your plan, if you have to accomplish a certain amount. I was working with a couple of people on how to become a director, and I'm like, look, month one, you got to be able to create 3 senior managers, and then as a team leader, you create 3 senior. Right? 2 senior managers. Once you get focused in on developing other people's success, the volume will just start chasing you. Okay. So now I want to get into the stuff that Jim Rohn taught me, right? This is from the Jim Rohn goal setting workshop. If you listen to his workshop, this will be familiar information to you. But this is the information that basically turned me every which way but loose. I mean, it was unbelievable what this was able to do for me. Okay. So I'm going to give you a couple things to keep in mind when setting goals, right? Jim Rohn always says the promise of the future is an awesome force. Okay. The promise of the future is an awesome force. He also says reasons make the difference on how your life works out. He says if you can come up with enough reasons, you can revolutionize your life. But if you're short on reasons, you're going to be short on answers. Okay. So think about the reasons why you want to do something special, right? Why do you want to do something great? Why do you want to just think about what could happen if you really got committed to this information that I'm sharing with you right now and setting goals and achieving them, and you become a top achiever? How many people's lives could you impact? How many people's lives could you make a difference in? And that's what's so powerful, because we have the right vehicle, right? We have the right vehicle. In my 30-year career in this industry, I've never seen a vehicle better than the Riman vehicle. We've got something that's nobody has. Nobody's ever had anything like this. Okay. So we've got the best vehicle. There's nobody that would debate that. Okay. Nobody that can debate that. Nobody's doing what we're doing. Now we've got the right vehicle, but all you got to do is learn how to drive, right? So how do you learn how to drive is by setting those goals. So remember, reasons make a difference on how your life works out. Okay. Now this is a big one. Make sure the strongest pull in you is the pull of the future. This is a big one, right? Make sure the strongest pull in you is the pull of the future, not the pull of the past. I'll talk to people like, oh, I tried something before and failed. It's like, dude, if you're not failing, you're not trying anything new. Like failure is not the opposite of success. It's the path to success, right? It's not like you fail or succeed. The only way to succeed is to fail a lot. So it's like, get excited about what you learn from every experience that you have. When I talk to somebody that doesn't work out well, I think, what could I have done differently? What could I have done to be able to make them see what I see, feel what I feel, right? And that's what I try to do. So when you're looking into the future, you got to make sure that you're looking at with anticipation, not apprehension, right? You got to get excited about your future. We got to get excited about 2026, okay? Because I'm telling you right now, you can accomplish greatness if you make a decision in your mind what greatness it looks like. Get specific about it, write it down, set goals, and go after them. And we're going to talk about how to do that today, okay? So dreams and goals can become like magnets. And I love this one. Dreams and goals can become like magnets. The stronger the goal, the stronger the pull is on your life. The stronger the goal is, the stronger the pull is on your life. Okay. So we want to make sure that we've got strong goals. Okay. You got to have strong goals. And we're going to talk about it now. So this is where it starts. Okay. So if you got a pen and paper, I need you to participate. Okay. Just don't sit there and watch. But here's what we're going to start with. Okay. The first step in setting goals. Okay. And mainly when you're working with kids, right? Jim Rohn says, when you're working with kids, I was 17. I'm like, I'm a kid, right? He said step number one is you got to give yourself credit for the past before you go to work on the future. Okay. You got to give yourself credit on the past before you go to the work on your future. So what 5 things, just write down on a paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What 5 things have you already accomplished that you're proud of? What 5 things have you already accomplished that you're proud of? Think about it. What are some things that you've done, right? For me, when I first got in, when I sat to that goal setting workshop with Jim Rohn, I put down number 1 was a 3rd place ribbon in 7th grade at track and field, right? It was 3rd place. I mean, I'd never really accomplished anything, right? I'd failed at pretty much everything I'd ever done. So I really had to think about this, but think about this right now. What 5 things have you already accomplished that you're proud of? What have you already accomplished? You got to give yourself credit for the past. Okay. So if you've got your 5 already, that's great. If you're working on your 5, that's fine too. Right. Don't feel pressured. Okay. This goal setting workshop is, you don't have to, take a picture of this and put it all over the internet. You understand? This is for you. Okay. This is for you. But I really want to teach you how to do this. Okay. Really teach you how to do this. Because I've done this training probably 500 times. Okay. And I know that I've impacted a lot of people's lives with this training. And what if I can get one of you to see it like the way that I saw it when I sat in that audience? Guess what? Imagine how many people you could go out there and share this with, right? And we could touch people's lives that we'll never be able to meet, right? So write down 5 things that you've already accomplished that you're proud of, right? If you got 1 or 2 down, that's fine. We're going to move on, and I want you to come back to this after this training's over. You've got to get committed. You understand? You can't be like, oh, I'm going to work on this tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is Robert Kiyosaki says that's the most overused word by people of poverty is tomorrow, right? So let's get to it now, right? So what I'm saying is we're going to come back to some of these things, but I want to get into step 2 because this is the fun one. Okay. Step number 2. And if you've only got 3 or 4 down or 1 down of the 5, come back to it. It's okay. This is called designing the next 10 years of your life. Okay. So I want you, don't think about what you think you can achieve. Okay. Listen to what I'm saying. Don't think about what you think you can achieve, but think about what you want if everything came together for you. If everything came together for you. Okay. Think about what you would want over the next 10 years. Make a list of 50 things you want to accomplish in the next 10 years. Okay. So think about this right now. On your list, what you want to do is you want to write down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You want to have a list of 50 and you can just start writing them. You don't have to put the numbers down. Just whatever comes in your head, you want to do. Okay. So we're going to make a list of 50 right now. Okay. Places you want to travel. Just think about the places you'd like to travel. You could probably make a list of 10 or 15 right there, right? Just think about all the places that you've never traveled to that you'd like to travel to. Maybe Long Beach Convention, right? Right? No, but think about places you want to travel to, okay? This is a big one, right? Things for other people that you want to do, right? Benevolence is a very big motivator, okay? Think about things you like to do for other people. Maybe you want to retire somebody or you take somebody on a shopping spree or put somebody into a certain school or be able to set up, have money set away for your kids and your grandkids or whatever it might be. Think about things for other people you'd like to do. Maybe there's some projects you'd like to support. Okay. Maybe there's maybe you want to, build a hospital, or maybe you want to build an orphanage, or what is it that you'd like to do? Right. So start writing down things for other people you'd like to accomplish. Okay. And you could put down as many as you want, right? And you can come back to a place you're like, oh my God, I want to go to this place, right? I want to go to Fiji. I want to go to Tahiti. I want to go to, now I think you can go and you can take that little, that plane and kind of up into outer space or something, right? Maybe you want to do something like that, right? So things for other people, right? That you want to do, places you want to travel, fitness goals. Maybe in 2027, 2026, we've got some fitness goals that we want to write down, right? Maybe, certain things that you want to be able to do fitness wise. Okay. And I promise you write it down and you can accomplish it. Maybe you're into watches or maybe you want to get a boat, right? I remember writing down on mine, I want to get a jet ski, right? And then about 3 months later, I ended up buying a jet ski, and it wasn't because of me. It was because I ended up crashing my buddy's jet ski and I just bought him a new one. I was like, oh, I bought a jet ski, but unfortunately it's for somebody else. So I needed to get a little bit more specific, but just think about maybe positions within Riman that you want to hit, right? Maybe if maybe you want to hit team leader, right? And then maybe you want to hit director, senior director, national. That's 4 positions right there. Maybe some of you have already hit team leader, right? Maybe you want to hit director, whatever. Maybe there's a certain amount of income that you want to earn monthly, right? And I know some of you are like, I don't need much. Here's the thing that Jim Rohn says: if you don't need much, you don't need to become much. Okay, because in life, it's not what you get that's valuable; it's what you become that makes you valuable. Okay, and there might be some things that you put down that you go for, and they might get you motivated. But the closer you get to them, the more you realize you don't really want them. But it got you going, right? I had a yacht down, right? And I can remember when we were about to buy a yacht. We went out there on my buddy's yacht and we were about to buy that yacht. And we were like, no, let's not get the yacht, right? We ended up getting the Lamborghini instead. And this is back in the days when those things were important. Now those things aren't as important to me, but it was that yacht got me going, right? I remember a limo got me going for a while, right? When I was 18, 19 years old, one of my mentors had a limousine and he had people, I was like, man, I want to get a limo. So I put it on my list and it got me motivated. I was running after a limo. And the closer I got to it, I realized that maybe I don't want to get that, right? So Doesn't, you don't have to, these are not concrete. Just write down 50 things you want to accomplish in the next 10 years, right? Maybe you want to climb Mount Everest, right? Maybe, and then maybe, maybe you get close to it and you're like, wait a second, what was I thinking, right? So, but write down some things that you want to achieve, right? Places you want to go, things you want to travel to. Just think about it, maybe some vacations you'd like to take your family members on, right? Maybe you want to go, go to Costa Rica, stay with us at that resort, right? Or maybe you want to go to Bali, right? I know we've got some people here from Asia on the call, right? Maybe there's somebody somewhere out there that you want to go. Maybe you want to go to Jeju Island, stay at the Riman Village, right? You know, maybe there's people how many people, big goal for me is how many people help become wealthy, right? Is how many people can I sponsor and help them hit director, national director? That's the stuff that gets me fired up. Is how many people on my team do I want to help make, a six-figure income? How many people do I want to help make a seven-figure income? How many people do I want to help, hit team leader position, right? Maybe you want to create 4 team leaders or 5 team leaders in the next 3 months, whatever. Write down some goals. Okay. It might be skills. I remember there was a guy his name was Chance Wilson, right? Chance was like, I'd never seen anybody that could sign people up like this guy. He was talking about sponsor monster, man. He was like unbelievable, man. And I used to think, man, I wish I want to be able to overcome objections like, Chance Wilson, right? When I was 17, the guy, Paul Yao, was my favorite presenter. Paul Yao, one of our senior directors, you guys all know James Coe, who's got a huge organization out in Hong Kong, building in Hong Kong. He was mentored by Paul Yao too. I had no idea until we started working together, but I want to be able to speak like Paul Yao. To me, he was the best speaker that I'd ever seen. I want to be able to speak like Paul Yao. I want to be able I want to be able to tell stories like this guy, Eric Alexander. I had so many people that I looked up to when I first got started in this industry, and still to this day. But that first company that I was with, there was so many great presenters, and I had trouble. First time I spoke, nothing came out. So I had skills that I wanted to acquire. Maybe you want to learn AI, or you want to learn how to get customers like Kimberly Weimer, right? I want to get more customers in 1 month than Kimberly Weimer. I remember the first company. I remember setting a goal. And my first company was to become, which would be equivalent to like senior manager. I want to be a top 10 senior manager. And it wasn't even in the company. It was just in like this little area, like in Southern California. And I remember I did it. I was like top 10. I was like, I can't believe I did it, And then it was like literally like 2 months later, I was like the number 1 producer in the company. It's like things can change so fast. But sometimes all you need to do is set a goal, and then you hit that goal and you hit another one. So let's get 50 down, and hopefully you've got close to 50. Think about real estate that you want to buy, right? Maybe there's where would you like to have a house, right? How many places would you like to have a house in? Okay. Maybe, you want to get a house in Aspen, right? To be able to ski, right? Or maybe you want to have a beach house in Miami, or maybe you want to have a beach house in Kauai, or maybe you want to have a beach house in Bali. I'm not sure, but just write down just set some goals. Just start writing down places you want. And you, like I said, you don't have to accomplish all these things. You just get your mind going, get your mind thinking. 50 things. So hopefully by now, you've got close to 50. Okay. But if you don't, just come back to this. Okay. Come back to this, but I'm giving you the secret sauce right now. Okay. To the KFC chicken, right? I'm giving you guys the 53 herbs, right? That the Colonel's got, right? So I'm giving you guys the secret cheat codes. Okay. So if you don't get it done right now, that's okay. Come back to it. Now I want to move along, because this is now what we want to do. This is step 3 and 4. So step 3 is this: how many 1s, how many 3s, how many 5s, how many 10s? What that means is how many goals are 1-year goals, 3-year goals, 5-year goals, 10-year goals. Okay. Like I remember I had a belt, or I wanted to get a Versace belt. I wanted to get these Ferragamo shoes. And I'm like, okay, these are definitely 1-year goals. I wanted to get a suit made by this guy. It was like, these were the things I was writing down on my list, right? When I was sitting in that audience with Jim Rohn. And I had a ton of 1-year goals, right? And I found out a lot about myself right there, right? But so you want to write down next year goal. If it's like a 3-month goal, just put down 1. If it's like 1.5 and it's whatever, just round it down to 1, right? So you don't have to be specific. You just want to know, write down next to each one of those 50 goals, how many are 1s, how many 3s, how many 5s, how many 10s. Okay. If it's like a 20-year goal, okay, it's like a 20-year goal, just put down 10. Okay. You don't have to be exact, but just fit it into one of these 4 categories. Get it into 1, get it into 3, get it into 5, get it into 10. And then what you want to do is this. You want to go back after you're all through and write down how many ones did you have? How many threes did you have? How many fives did you have? And how many tens did you have? Okay. So as you're doing this, I'm just going to kind of tell you a little bit about why this is important. If you have a lot of ones like I did when I got started in this profession, I didn't have a lot of 10-year goals at all. I don't even think I had one. Everything was 1-year goals. It taught me about who I was I was the type of person that would go really fast, but I wouldn't be long term, right? And I would on a burnout mission, right? And if you have a lot of 10-year goals and not a lot of 1-year goals, you're the type of person that might be, have that long-term vision, but might have, a little bit of procrastination, right? So once you look at this and the next time you do the goal setting workshop, you want to start coming up with more threes, more fives, maybe more tens or more ones, wherever you're at a little bit where you need to work on it, and see how many 1-year goals, how many threes, how many fives, how many tens. So just go back, write down that next each goal, 1, 3, 5, or 10, and then calculate how many of those 50 are ones, threes, fives, or tens. It's very interesting, and you'll find out a lot about your personality by looking at this. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is something super important. Okay. This is one of the most important steps. Okay. So if you're in the middle of that, just come back to that. You understand what that looks like. Now, this is one of the most important steps. Okay. This is step number 4. What are the 4 most important 1-year goals? What are the 4 ones that will really do it for you? Okay. Really do it for you. Maybe you want to retire somebody, or you want to buy a house, or you want to buy a new car, or you want to something that's really important for you right now, right? Maybe you want to fire your boss, right? Or maybe you want to give somebody a gift, or take somebody on a shopping spree, or help your husband, or help your wife retire, or find something that's gonna I call it your must list, right? That these are the ones that'll really do it for me. And just go ahead and kind of circle those 4 most important 1-year goals for you. Okay. These are the 4 that will really do it for me. Okay. Those are the 4 most important 1-year goals. Okay. This is by far one of the most important parts. And I'll talk about it now. So hopefully you're picking out the 4 that will really do it for you. These are the ones that are at the top of my list, right? If you're still working on your list, don't feel, oh my God, I'm running behind. Don't worry about that. Okay. What are the 4 most important 1-year goals for you though? Okay. Because here's what we're going to do in step 5. And if you've only got one goal that's super important to you, or maybe 2 of the, don't stress out. Okay. Once again, you can come back to this. Okay. Usually I do this with an audience of people. So it's everybody will just stand up when they're done, and we can move along. But since we're doing this on Zoom and we got time restraints, we're going to move forward. Don't feel pressured. But this is one of the most important steps. Okay. I'd say step 5 and step 6 are the most important. This is what we want to do right now. This purpose is stronger than object. Okay. Always keep in mind, when the why gets strong, the how gets easy. Okay. Now those goals are what? Now we're going to talk about why. Talk about, why are these 4 goals important to you? Why? Now we're talking about the most important element is the why factor. It's not what you want, it's the why you want, the what you want, right? When you're working with people, helping them achieve what they want in life, you got to know the why, not just the what. So think about, just write a few sentences or maybe even a paragraph on each one of those 4. Why this? Because say you want to retire, you're like, I want to retire my wife, or I want to retire my husband. And you're like, why do I want to do it? And you're like, well, because if I could help them retire, I know that would add years to their life. See, that can motivate you. That can get you going. So you got to get that why, because that why is going to be that reason, right? I talk about it in some of my trainings before. Some of you maybe saw me at the convention when I talked about fighting a Bengal tiger. That why is why you're going to fight a Bengal tiger. Okay. If there's a brand new car there and someone says, hey, fight a Bengal tiger for that car, I'm not fighting a Bengal tiger for a car. But if my wife's there and there's a Bengal tiger, I'm going to beat the heck out of that Bengal tiger. So the why, that's what's going to be your bridge over troubled waters. That's going to be the thing that's going to get you out of bed when you feel like nobody's listening to you. It's going to keep you going whenever there's going to be doubt and times that you want to give up and quit. Because I promise you, that happens. That's happened to me when I first got in the profession, man. But those are the best times. after you achieve the success, you're like, dang, there was times I wanted to quit. There was times I wanted to give up. And I stayed in it. And something was on my shoulder saying, you can't give up. You got to get up and get going. So it was that why. Now, why is what's going to keep you driving, right? If you're on maybe one of your goals is to lose a certain amount of weight because you know that, you're just unhealthy, right? Or you know that, that you need to lose weight. For me, I wanted to lose. I remember a couple of years back, 5 years ago, I was out of control. Actually, now, geez, it was about 9 years ago, right? Whenever my youngest was born, I was up to 285 pounds. And I looked in the mirror and I was disgusted by myself. And I said, and I put it on my goal list. And I said, why do I want to do that? I said, because I love my wife so much that I want her to have somebody better looking to be with, right? I want her to have something better to look at because I'm disgusted by myself. I know she's got to be too. And that's what drove me. And I ended up losing 90 pounds in 90 days. It was like, I went crazy on the weight loss, man. And it was like, people were coming up to me that I was working with. Are you sick? Did you get something? And you're not telling us. People are worried, man. But it was like, I was so driven, but it was the why. It's not the what. If you want to, get away a bad habit that you have, and it's why, right? It's going to be, to be able to live longer, right? So I can see, my kids do this or my grandkids do this or something like, you've got to find out the why. It's not what you want. It's why you want the what you want. Okay. So purpose is stronger than object. Out of those 4 1-year goals, why are they so important to you? You got to write down at least a few sentences. Okay. Because that's what's going to drive you. That's what's going to motivate you. That's when it get you up, right? Whenever you've been knocked down, right? And you get back up. You get back up and 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 you keep on keeping on until you reach your goals. It's the why. The why is the most important aspect of goal setting, right? Until we talk about step 6. So if you're still working on this, come back afterwards, okay? I'm okay. I want you to feel pressured. But this one, I want you to spend some time with, okay? Wow, this is a good one. This is Jim Rohn's step number 6 for the goal setting workshop. Okay. What you become in the process of what you want is the most valuable part of achievement. Okay. Set goals on what you want to become because what you achieve will help you to become and what you become will help you to achieve. Okay. Think about what I just said. What you become in the process of what you want is the most valuable part of achievement. Set goals on what you want to become. Okay. This is so big right here. What you achieve will help you to become, and what you become will help you to achieve. So write a descriptive paragraph, okay? Describing what kind of person must I become to achieve all that I want. So when you get that list of 50 done, if you're already done with it, great. But I want you to imagine you write all those goals down, things that you want to accomplish, right? 5 things, a list of 50 things next 10 years that you'd like to have happen, okay? Things you want to achieve. Now go into the future and ask yourself, what kind of person must I become to attract all that I want? Think about that. Think about the skills you've got to develop, right? Think about maybe it's time management skills, right? Maybe it's for me that I would get off track. I would be like doing one thing, I'd be doing something else. I'm doing something else, right? I'm like, oh man, I need to just do one thing, check that box, do another one, check that box, because I'm all over the place, right? I feel I'm skating all over the place sometimes, right? So I know how I operate, right? And I know what I have to watch out for with the way that I am as an individual, right? And I can get scatterbrained so easily, right? If I'm not streamlined focused. So for me, focus is a big one, right? For me, is it might sound a little bit crazy, but for me, it's sometimes taking a day off, right? Because that's very hard for me to do. It's hard for me to get a haircut. It's hard for me to get my dry cleaning done. It's hard for me to do the things that are not a part of what I'm running for, right? So sometimes my wife would always make us like Sunday. I'm so valuable. But Sunday we'd have to go and have we do like breakfast and we would do, we'd go to church, breakfast, and then we would go to, or we would do church lunch or breakfast church, whichever one we would do first, or sometimes different. And we would go watch a movie together. We go do something as a family together. And it was so valuable because for me, I just wanted to keep on running. And it's like, whatever it is that you need to do, sometimes it's like maybe some people procrastinate. The concept doesn't make sense to me. but write a descriptive paragraph describing what kind of person must I become to achieve all that I want. Because for me, the way I look at it is like, you're not going to remember what you did yesterday. You're not going to remember what you did today. Okay. So you don't want to trade what you want most for what you want now. Most people trade for what they want most for what they want now. Maybe now you don't want to go talk to nobody because you don't want to get, you don't want to get rejected or whatever. It's like, whoa, whoa, we're not talking about us. We got to extend an invitation for people and care about them. Right. So maybe for you, it might be something a little bit different. Right. But for me, it's like, I'm not going to remember what I did or didn't do today anyways. So I might as well give it everything that I got to be able to get the results that I want, because all that'll change a year from now is what? My life, right? Think about it. If I eat the right food over and over and over again, I'm going to, guess what? Get more healthy. If I eat bad food, I'm going to get unhealthy. Well, the hamburger, right, is easier than, you know what I mean, maybe the salad or whatever. But the reality is that you're not going to remember either one anyways. So you might as well just do the thing that you know that is going to be in alignment with what you want, right? So maybe for you, it might be something along those lines, right? Is getting a little bit more committed to taking action on a daily basis, or maybe for some of you, it might be, learning how to develop leadership, right? Of believing in people and seeing them for what they could be, so they become what they should be, right? So there's going to be aspects of it, but write a descriptive paragraph describing what kind of person must I become to achieve all that I want. Maybe I got to get out of my comfort zone. How many of us still have a comfort zone, right? What is it that you might be uncomfortable doing? Maybe doing a live presentation is uncomfortable for you, right? And maybe when you do a pop-up, you don't like to have too many people there because you're nervous or whatever. Or maybe when you're doing a Zoom, you just like to plug in other people's Zooms because you don't like doing them yourself or whatever. You got to, maybe that's what it is. You're procrastinating to step up, or maybe you don't have enough confidence and you got to believe in yourself, or maybe whatever it might be. But just think, what kind of person must I become to achieve all that I want? Right? How focused do I need to be? Right? How committed do I need to be? How, you know, time management skills, right? Following up, maybe follow up expert, right? Maybe I need to, really get good at this area of the business, which maybe is presenting or recruiting or whatever. Right? Just find out, what is it? So describe that type of person that you've got to become to achieve all that you want, right? And this is in every area of your life. I'm talking about Riman right now, but because, that's the one common denominator that we all share, but it's like that in everything, right? I didn't work out for like 20 years in the gym, right? And I went back into the gym, after I'd lost all that weight, and I went bananas, man. And that was during that COVID year. And I was retired. I had nothing to do. And I just was like, I'm just going to live in the gym 3, 4, 5 hours a day. And then COVID hit, man, we were in there for like 8 hours a day, just doing incredible amounts of stuff. And it's like, I never dreamed I could do this stuff, but I would write a goal down and then I would hit it and write a bigger goal down and hit it. So this goal setting stuff works in every aspect of your life. Okay. It works in every aspect of your life. So just describe stuff that you want, but more importantly, describe the type of person you've got to become to achieve all that I want. A descriptive paragraph. Okay. Spend some time on this one, but you can kind of get the gist of it right now. I'm running a little bit out of time. And I'm over here crying because I'm getting passionate. So what I want to do is, this is one of my favorite ones. Okay. So go back and work on this stuff. We kind of rushed through it, but you guys got basically the concept of what we're talking about here. Now we're going to get into step number 7. Okay. And this is basically the step number 7. Step number 8 is the rocking chair test. Okay. This is something that Jim Rohn talks about, right? Is high achievers have the ability to reach into the future for inspiration. Okay. This is a big one. Okay. High achievers have the ability to be able to reach into the future for inspiration. Okay. So we're going to do something called the rocking chair test right now. Okay. The rocking chair test right now. And I'm going to do it with you guys right now. This is called the rocking chair test. Okay. So the first thing we got to do, you got to close your eyes. Okay. Close your eyes. And then you want to visualize yourself in the future in a rocking chair, right? Many years down the road, you're sitting in a rocking chair. And I want you to imagine that you look back and all the goals that you set out, you accomplished them. You're sitting in that rocking chair and you're like, man, I did it. I did it. I went for it all. Right? I accomplished it all. And you're looking back on your life, and I want you to go there now. Like, just imagine how you would feel to achieve all the dreams, the goals, the desires that you had. You written them all down, you went for it, and you achieved them. And you're just so proud of yourself. You're like, thank God I went for it, right? Thank God I didn't just, live less than the life that I could have lived, right? You're really looking back and you did it all. Everything that you wanted, you set out for, you accomplished it. You did more than you possibly could imagine. You impacted people far beyond your reach. You changed people's lives and you couldn't even believe it. You're looking back, you're like, I can't believe how many people's lives I touched. How many people's lives are better because they came in contact with me. Because I went for it all, I did it all, I accomplished it all. Just imagine that feeling. Like, get that feeling in your heart that you did it, that you stepped up. You became that type of person that you needed to become to achieve all that you want. How does that feel? How do you feel now? Just go there in your mind. Just feel it. Man, I did it. Did it. I accomplished it all. Now, think about how do you feel right now? Now, we're going to do something else. Stay there in that rocking chair for a second. But instead of accomplishing it all, I want you to go back in that same rocking chair and visualize yourself. You didn't accomplish it all, that you didn't go for it, that you let excuses stop you. You let fear stop you. You let self-imposed limitations stop you, that you just said, man, you know what? I can't do it. It's too hard. And you're looking back on your life and it's like, I didn't go for it. I didn't do it. I didn't follow through. I didn't become a better person. I didn't go for it all. And I want you guys to imagine you're just laying there and you're wondering what could have been. You're wondering what could have happened if you would have gave it your all. And you get that feeling in your heart. You feel like you let yourself down. You feel like you let your family down. But you know you could have done better. And you're looking back on your life, but it's too late. Now imagine how you feel. And then you got to ask yourself, how would you rather feel? Because it's not too late. We still have tomorrow, right? We still have today. We still got this moment right now. Like, it's not too late. We got right now. It's like, what are we going to do with it? Now that we've got a chance, what are we going to do with it? Like, you have that opportunity right now to change your life tomorrow. Like, it's not too late, man. We're not in a rocking chair. We can do it. And you got to ask yourself, how do you want to feel in the future? How do you want to feel in the future? Not how you want to feel right now. But you got to get out of your comfort zone, man. You got to get out of your comfort zone right now. Or you're going to live your life with regret. You're going to look back on your life and say, dang it, I didn't do it. I didn't go for it. I didn't give it my all. And you have to ask yourself, how would I rather feel looking back on my life? That I went for it all? Because I guarantee you don't regret the things in life that you do. You regret the things in life that you don't do. You don't lay there on your deathbed saying, man, you know what? I gave my all too much. I just accomplished too much. I wish I didn't do so great. Nobody says that. You say, I should have done this. I should have done that. I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have done that. It's not too late. What are you going to do right now? Today, this year, 2027, what are you going to do? Are you going to come back in 2028? It's going to be here. And you're not going to remember what you did or didn't do anyways from the standpoint of whether you worked hard or you just sat around and worked medium. Only thing that you're going to remember is the results you get. So just go all out. Just give it everything that you got. Set the kind of goals that's going to make something of you to achieve them, right? Stretch, change, reach, grow. This isn't a dress rehearsal. This is our life. This is not a scrimmage. This is our life. This is the real deal. And you have time right now to change your life. But it's not going to happen if you don't give it your all. So you've got to make your commitment right now, because I'm telling you, I don't want to go to the grave with my life unused. Right? I don't want to look back and say, man, I wish I would have done this. My mentor told me, he said, the most wealthiest place in the world isn't a diamond mine, isn't a gold mine, isn't an oil field. The wealthiest place in the world is a graveyard, because most people will take to their graves ideas and gifts and values that they could have developed, and they could have made such an impact on the world, but they didn't take action. I'm asking you right now, how would you rather feel looking back in that rocking chair? That you gave it your all, Because I'm telling you, one of my favorite quotes of all time is nobody that ever gave their best regretted it. George Hallis said that. Nobody that ever gave their best regretted it. I'm telling you right now, what would happen if you gave it your all? What would happen if you stepped up? What would happen if you got uncomfortable? What would happen if you said to yourself right now, hey, look, you know what? I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to step up. I'm going to get the job done. I'm going to go all out massive action. It doesn't matter what this person does or this. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about what the person in the mirror is going to do, what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm not waiting around for nobody. I'm giving it everything that I got. I'm going to have that catch me if you can attitude. I'm running. All right. You want to run with me? Let's run. You don't want to run, that's fine too. Walk, crawl, whatever, sleep, it doesn't matter. I'm running. And I'm going to keep on running over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until I get what I want. Nothing's going to stop me. That's the mindset that I'm asking you right now to have. Because what would happen if you made that your mindset? Would you be better off? Would next year, looking back at this time, where would you be? If you said, I'm giving it everything that I got, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to give 110%. This is my life, man. This isn't a dress rehearsal. I'm not going to mess around with this one gift that I've got. And I'm going to give the gift back, right? This life that I have is a gift from God. And I'm going to give God a gift back by taking this moment in time and giving it everything that I got. So with that being said, you guys, couple call to action items right now. We got to understand about reminders about goals. As soon as you accomplish a goal, always replace it with a new goal to achieve. You got to always have a new goal to achieve. As soon as you check a goal off, boom, you got to have a new goal to achieve, okay? How much should you earn? Earn as much as you can, okay? How much should you accomplish? Accomplish as much as you can. How much should you do? Do all that you can, okay? This is it. This is our life, man. Let's give it everything that we got. As soon as you accomplish a goal, don't have destination disease, right? You are meant for accomplishment, right? Just think about it. A house that's unlived in, it just sits there. It'll become more deteriorated than a house that's lived in. An empty house, a vacated house will corrode and then more than a lived-in house. A boat that is out on the sea is going to be in better condition than a boat that's just stuck inside its harbor, okay? Think about this. An airplane that just sits in a hangar is going to deteriorate faster than an airplane that's in the sky flying. Why? Because just like a house, right? A house was made to be lived in. Right? A plane was meant to fly. A boat was meant to be out on the ocean. And just like us, we're built for accomplishment. You've got what it takes. You've got greatness within you. I promise you that. But you've got to decide right now. I'm not going to let another year go by. I'm not going to let another day go by. This is it. Okay? It doesn't make a difference. I'm not going to let anything else stop me. This is my time. This is my chance, and nothing's going to stop me. I'm going to give it everything that we got, right? So here it is. Register now for Long Beach. Hit Team Leader by Long Beach. Make sure it qualified for Costa Rica. If you haven't qualified for Costa Rica, create at least one new senior manager ASAP, man. You got somebody in your team right now, let's lock arms with them and get them a senior manager. Let's focus in on helping other people succeed, right? By doing what, right? By leading by example, by showing them what it looks like. So this is a moment in time that'll never be recreated again. This moment in time will never be duplicated again. This moment in time is our time. Hey, this is our chance to do something special. This is our chance to do something great. And I promise you right now, you can do it. You guys saw that picture of me at the beginning when I was sitting in that first event. There was nobody that would have ever said, hey, this guy's got what it takes. But I'm telling you what I did. I said, hey, if these other people can do it, I can do it. And the only way you're going to find out how great you can possibly be is to give it your all. Think about what you can accomplish. Think about how great you can be, the impact that you can make. So why don't we decide right now that this is it? Why don't we decide right now that this is our time, that we're going all out, that nothing can stop us? We're going to impact people's lives. So we're going to develop new leaders, man. We're going to create more success stories. We're going to make it happen right now. There's people right now that are brand new that are going to be getting started in the next 24 or 48 hours, man. Let's make them directors. Think about what I'm telling you guys. We can do it. We can make it happen, but it starts by looking in the mirror saying, you know what? If it is to be, hey, it's up to me. If it is to be, it is up to me. This is my time. This is my chance. Nothing can stop me. Nothing can get my way. Over, under, or through. I'm going to make it happen. That's got to be the mindset that we all have, man. I'm so fired up and excited right now. I'm going to run through a brick wall right now. I'm so excited. But I love you guys so much. Appreciate everybody. Hope you guys got some value tonight. If you didn't get all that stuff done, go back, spend some time on it, and let's go all out massive action. Let's make this the best year, the year to remember. Thank you so much. God bless you guys. I love you guys. See you guys at the top. Let's make it happen, everybody.